Here's something that happens at almost every party. Someone turns to you, smiles, and asks what you've been up to lately. And instead of just answering, something inside you quietly deflates. Not because you're rude, not because you dislike the person, but because you already know exactly where this conversation is going, and it's nowhere you actually want to be. If that landed somewhere specific, keep watching, because what I'm about to tell you isn't about being antisocial. It's about something much more interesting happening inside your brain. Let's start with what small talk actually is, beneath the surface. Most people treat it like a harmless social ritual. A few minutes of weather, weekend plans, nothing too deep, and then you move on. And for a lot of people, that works fine. It's easy, it's comfortable, it fills the silence without asking anything real of anyone. But for a specific type of person, small talk doesn't feel neutral. It feels like friction, like being asked to run when you were built to swim. And the question worth asking is why. The first piece is about depth of processing. Research on sensory processing sensitivity, developed largely by psychologist Elaine Aron, found that roughly 20% of the population processes information significantly more deeply than everyone else. They notice more. They connect more dots. They feel the weight of things that others move past without registering. And here's what that means in a conversation. While someone else is comfortably discussing weekend plans, this type of person's brain is already 3 layers deeper, noticing the tone beneath the words, wondering what the person actually means, feeling slightly suffocated by the surface. Small talk isn't boring to them because they're arrogant. It's boring because their brain is running a different program and the conversation isn't using any of it. But there's something else going on that almost nobody talks about. Small talk has a cost that doesn't show up on the receipt. For most people, low-stakes conversation is low effort. For people wired the way we're describing, it's actually the opposite. Maintaining surface-level exchanges while internally processing at a much deeper level is genuinely tiring. You're running 2 tracks simultaneously, one visible, one not, and the visible one has to look fine the whole time. A 2010 study by Mel and colleagues found something striking. People who reported more meaningful conversations and fewer trivial ones consistently scored higher on well-being measures. The researchers didn't frame it as introverts being right about small talk, but the data suggested something real. Depth of conversation isn't just a preference. For certain people, it's closer to a need. And look, this isn't purely about introversion, though the overlap is real. There are extroverts who hate small talk too. What they share with their introverted counterparts isn't a preference for silence. It's a preference for contact, actual contact, the kind where something real gets exchanged between 2 people, where you leave a conversation knowing something about the person that you didn't know before, or feeling known in a way that the weather conversation never gets you to. Small talk by design is built to prevent that. It's a system for being around people without actually reaching them. And for people who interact in order to connect, not just to occupy shared space, the whole format feels like a door that stays permanently locked. There's a social layer here too, and it's worth naming. The pressure to be good at small talk is real. It reads as warmth, as approachability, as someone who's easy to be around. People who visibly struggle with it get labeled cold, awkward, difficult. And they usually know this, so they perform it anyway, which means they spend a significant amount of social energy doing something that drains them in order to appear like it doesn't. That performance has a name in psychology. It's called masking, and the energy it costs is not small. It's one of the reasons people who hate small talk often find large social gatherings exhausting in a way that goes beyond just being tired. They're not just spending time, they're spending something harder to replenish. Jung would have had something to say about this. He wrote extensively about people whose inner world runs louder than their outer presentation. People who need meaning the way others need company. For that type, conversation that goes nowhere isn't just unsatisfying. It feels almost like a violation of something, like being asked to speak a language you understand but didn't choose. Which brings us to the thing people who hate small talk almost never say out loud. It's not that they don't want to talk. It's that they want to talk about the real things, what you're actually struggling with, what you believe and why, what keeps you up at 2 a.m., What changed your mind about something you used to be certain of? The conversations that make you feel like you're not the only one carrying whatever you've been carrying. Those conversations exist. They're just not the ones that start with, "So, how's work going?" If you've always found yourself going quiet at parties while somehow lighting up in one-on-one conversations that go too long and cover too much ground, that's not a malfunction. That's a signal about what your brain is actually built for. The world runs mostly on surface. A lot of systems, social scripts, workplace rituals, networking events are built by and for people who find the surface sufficient. For the people we've been talking about, none of that was ever going to feel like enough. And spending years wondering what's wrong with you for noticing that is time you didn't need to spend. Nothing is wrong with you. You just need a different kind of conversation, and the people who can have it with you when you find them tend to become the ones you keep for a very long time. One thing that makes depth of conversation harder is a nervous system that's already overloaded. If your sleep is fragmented, your focus is scattered, your mind won't quiet down long enough to actually be present, the kind of connection this video is about becomes almost impossible to reach. There's a link in the description to a bundle I put together around exactly that. Sleep, focus, dopamine reset, mental clarity. Daily structure, not just information. Worth a look if any of this landed.